The digital fortress. The crystalline headquarters of Quantum Shield Technologies rose from the San Francisco skyline like a digital fortress. Inside, Elijah Chen stood before a wall of monitors, his slender fingers dancing across holographic interfaces as he refined the algorithm that had made him a billionaire at 32. Security systems designed by QST protected everything from government databases to private medical records, all controlled by his creation, ARIA, the Autonomous Risk Intelligence Algorithm. "Mr. Chen, your 3 o'clock canceled," his assistant's voice announced through the intercom. "And the board is requesting next quarter's projections." "Tell them they'll have it when it's ready," Elijah replied without looking up, his dark eyes fixed on scrolling lines of code. He ran his hand through his unkempt hair, pushing it away from his face where a thin scar traced his right temple. A reminder of why he'd built walls both digital and emotional. 20 miles south in a cluttered Oakland apartment, Zara Karim stared at her laptop screen, coffee growing cold beside her keyboard. The anonymous email had arrived at 2:17 a.m. QST's area system has backdoors. Chen knows. Lives at risk. Proof attached. The encrypted files had taken her until sunrise to crack, revealing internal memos suggesting vulnerabilities deliberately left in systems protecting domestic violence shelters. "This could destroy him," Zara murmured, tapping her pen against her notebook. As the daughter of Pakistani immigrants who had survived political persecution, she believed in the power of truth and the responsibility that came with it. At 30, she'd built a reputation at the Digital Observer for thorough, ethical reporting on tech industry abuses. Her editor was ecstatic when she pitched the story. "Chen never gives interviews," Marcus had said, leaning forward eagerly. "If you can get to him, this is your Pulitzer moment." After a week of ignored requests, Zara decided on a direct approach. QST's annual charity gala provided the perfect opportunity, a rare public appearance by the reclusive founder. She secured a press pass and a borrowed designer dress that hugged her athletic frame while concealing a recorder in her clutch. The gala transformed the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art into a futuristic wonderland. Executives and investors circulated beneath floating digital art installations while discussing market forecasts and acquisition rumors. Elijah stood apart, nursing a sparkling water as he observed the room with detached interest. Zara approached with practiced confidence. "Mr. Chen." "Zara Karim, the Digital Observer." His eyes narrowed slightly. "I don't recall approving an interview." "You've denied 17 requests, actually," she replied with a calm smile. "I'm persistent when something matters. And vulnerabilities in systems protecting vulnerable populations matters, doesn't it?" A flash of something, anger, fear, crossed his face before his expression settled into careful neutrality. "Interesting opening gambit. Ms. Karim, making accusations at a charity event." "Not accusations. Questions. I have documentation suggesting ARIA contains deliberate security bypasses in systems protecting domestic violence survivors. I'd like your explanation before publishing." The glass in Elijah's hand trembled almost imperceptibly. "Who's your source?" "You know I can't reveal that." His jaw tightened. "Come to my office tomorrow. 10 a.m. My assistant will clear security for you." He stepped closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. "But understand this, you're missing critical context. Some stories aren't what they appear." As he walked away, Zara felt a curious mixture of triumph and unease. There was something in his eyes she hadn't expected. Not the cold calculation of a corporate villain, but something deeper, almost wounded. She watched his retreating figure, noting the slight asymmetry in his gait, wondering what other imperfections hid beneath his perfect digital empire. The story was just beginning, and Zara couldn't shake the feeling that unraveling Elijah Chen's secrets might change more than just her career. Beneath the surface, Zara arrived at Quantum Shield headquarters precisely at 9:45 a.m., greeted by a pristine lobby of glass and titanium. After surrendering her phone and signing multiple NDAs, Elijah's executive assistant, a poised woman named Imani with impeccable style and a penetrating gaze, escorted her to the 47th floor. "He rarely allows journalists up here," Imani said, studying Zara with undisguised curiosity. "Whatever you found must be significant." The elevator opened directly into Elijah's office, a minimalist space dominated by floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the bay. One wall displayed a massive digital canvas cycling through photographs of global landscapes, Arctic ice fields, Amazonian rainforests, desert plains. Elijah stood with his back to her, silhouetted against the morning light. "Those systems you mentioned," he said without turning, "were designed with emergency override protocols, not backdoors." "Semantics," Zara replied, setting her recorder on the glass desk between them as he turned to face her. "Deliberate vulnerabilities by any name." "Save lives," he interrupted, his eyes meeting hers with unexpected intensity. "The protocols exist so that if a woman's abuser gains access to her device, remotely wipes it, or compromises her digital footprint, we can recover her data and location instantly." He tapped a command on his desk, and holographic screens materialized showing statistics of domestic violence cases. "We've helped locate 3 M47 at-risk individuals in the past year through these systems, working directly with law enforcement and shelter networks." Zara frowned, reviewing her notes. "But your documentation shows these protocols could potentially be exploited." "Any system can be exploited. The question is whether the protection outweighs the risk." He hesitated, then added, "I'm willing to show you everything, Ms. Karim. The full security architecture, implementation protocols, safeguards. But first I'd like to show you something else." Curiosity overrode caution. "Show me what?" 20 minutes later, they stood in a nondescript building in the Mission District. Inside was a fully equipped tech training center buzzing with activity. Women of various ages hunched over computers, engaged in animated coding discussions. "Every person here has survived domestic violence," Elijah explained quietly. "QST funds their training, housing, childcare. They help us design the very systems we were discussing." A middle-aged woman approached with a warm smile. "Mr. Chen? Perfect timing. Lucia just landed the Mercer interview." Elijah's typically reserved expression softened. "That's fantastic, Rita. I knew she would." As Rita returned to her students, Zara studied Elijah's face. "This is personal for you." Something flickered behind his eyes, a shadow of old pain. "My mother. She tried to leave 7 times before she succeeded. Technology was both her prison and eventually her escape." He glanced at his watch. "I've arranged for you to speak with our security team and several program graduates without my presence. Ask any questions you want." Hours later, back in his office, Zara's perspective had shifted dramatically. The story wasn't about security flaws, but about an intricate system designed by survivors themselves. "Why keep this work anonymous?" she asked, genuinely perplexed. "This would transform your public image." Elijah leaned against his desk, suddenly looking tired. "These women don't need to be part of my PR strategy. And the moment these programs become public, they become targets. Like you were targeted? That's Scar." She gestured toward his temple. His hand unconsciously touched the mark. "Car accident. Long ago?" The lie hung between them, transparent and telling. "Your private helicopter is scheduled for a maintenance check tonight at 11 p.m., Zara said, watching his reaction carefully. "Flying to a private airstrip in Nevada, where you'll meet with 3 women who've received new identities through a program that doesn't officially exist." Elijah went completely still. "How could you possibly know that?" "I'm good at my job." She closed her notebook. "Don't worry, it's not going in my story. But I need to understand, who are you really, Elijah Chen?" For a long moment, he simply looked at her. Really looked at her, as though seeing someone unexpected. "Would you like to find out?" he finally asked. "Come with me tonight." The invitation hung in the air between them, dangerous, unprofessional, irresistible. "Yes," Zara heard herself say, stepping into territory far beyond the boundaries of journalism. Encrypted hearts. The helicopter cut through night clouds, its cabin quiet except for the rhythmic thrum of rotors. Zara sat across from Elijah, both bathed in the soft blue glow of interior lighting. Neither had spoken much since takeoff, the significance of her presence on this secret mission settling between them like an unspoken agreement. My mother died because the system failed her, Elijah finally said, his voice barely audible above the engine noise. She had a restraining order, an emergency call button, everything the system offered. None of it saved her. Zara watched his hands. Elegant, capable hands that built digital empires, clenched slightly in his lap. So you built a better system? I built many systems, he corrected. The public ones make money. The private ones... He looked out the window at the darkness below. They make amends. The helicopter descended onto a remote landing pad illuminated by perimeter lights. A small compound of modern buildings stood nearby, surrounded by desert landscape. Welcome to Haven, Elijah said as they disembarked. Officially a QST research facility, unofficially a transition point. Inside, they were greeted by Dr. Marisol Vega, a distinguished woman with silver-streaked hair and watchful eyes. We have 3 arriving tonight, she explained, leading them through secure corridors. High-risk cases. Their digital lives have been completely scrubbed and rebuilt. In a comfortable waiting room, Zara observed the delicate process unfold, women and children arriving with nothing but small backpacks, receiving new identification documents, phones with built-in security protocols, and access to housing and employment networks across the country. This is all funded by your personal fortune? Zara asked Elijah as they watched from an observation room. It needs to remain independent from QST's corporate structure. He hesitated. If something happened to me, certain trusts would ensure it continues. And this is why you avoid relationships? To protect all of this? His eyes met hers, startled by her perception. Relationships create vulnerabilities. Vulnerabilities create risks. They also create strength, Zara countered softly. Later, as the helicopter returned them to San Francisco, something had shifted between them. Conversation flowed more naturally, touching on childhood memories, favorite books, perspectives on technology's future. Dawn was breaking as they landed on the QST building's helipad. Exhaustion and shared confidences had erased professional boundaries, leaving them standing closer than necessary as they watched the sunrise paint the city gold. I haven't shown anyone Haven before, Elijah admitted, his voice rough with fatigue. Why me? Zara asked, turning to face him. Because you saw through the facade. You asked the right questions. His hand moved tentatively to brush a strand of hair from her face. And because I haven't been able to stop thinking about you since the gala. The admission hung between them, honest and vulnerable. When their lips met, it felt inevitable, a connection forged through revealed truths rather than concealed ones. Zara pulled back first. This complicates my story. I know. His fingers remained intertwined with hers. What will you write? The truth, but not all of it. Some truths aren't mine to tell. His phone buzzed with an urgent alert, breaking the moment. Elijah's expression transformed as he read the message. Someone's attempting to breach Aria's core protocols. We need to go, now. In his crisis center 20 floors below, screens displayed cascading security alerts. It's targeted, Elijah explained to Zara as his team worked frantically. Someone's specifically going after the domestic violence shelter networks. Can they get through? Not directly, but they're trying to expose the emergency protocols you discovered. His eyes met hers with sudden urgency. If they succeed, every person in those shelters becomes vulnerable. As the attack intensified, Zara found herself working alongside Elijah, her investigative skills complementing his technical expertise. Hours blurred together as they traced digital footprints, identified attack patterns, and reinforced critical systems. When they finally contained the breach, they found themselves alone in his office, exhaustion etched on both their faces. We traced the attack, Elijah said quietly. It originated from Vertex Technologies. Your main competitor, Zara whispered. But how did they know about these specific protocols? The question lingered between them as a new, chilling possibility emerged. Someone close to one of them had betrayed Haven's secrets, putting countless lives at risk. Elijah moved closer, his hand finding hers. I don't know who to trust anymore, he admitted. Except somehow you. As their lips met again, more urgent this time, Zara knew she was crossing a line she couldn't uncross. Her objectivity as a journalist was compromised, But something more valuable had taken its place, a connection that felt both dangerous and essential, like a lifeline in treacherous waters. System breach. Zara awoke in unfamiliar surroundings. Elijah's penthouse apartment, minimalist yet surprisingly warm with natural wood and soft textures contrasting the sleek technology integrated throughout. Through floor-to-ceiling windows, fog rolled over San Francisco like a digital cloak, obscuring and revealing the city in rhythmic patterns. Memories of the previous night flooded back, the urgency of their embrace after the security breach, the surprising gentleness of his hands exploring her body, the vulnerability in his eyes as barriers physical and emotional fell away between them. Their connection had been intense, tender, almost desperate in its honesty. She found Elijah in his home office, already immersed in work despite the early hour. He looked up when she entered, a smile transforming his usually serious features. "Morning," he said softly, crossing to her. His kiss was brief but intimate, the kiss of someone who had memorized the contours of her lips just hours before. "Any updates on the breach?" she asked, accepting the coffee he offered. His expression darkened. "It's worse than we thought. The attack was just phase 1, designed to make us reveal our security architecture while they were mapping it." He pulled up a holographic display showing infiltration attempts across multiple systems. "They're specifically targeting Haven's network now." "How? I thought that system was completely isolated." "It should be." Elijah ran his hand through his disheveled hair. "The only explanation is that someone with intimate knowledge of both systems is helping them." An uncomfortable possibility settled between them. "Someone who knows about the connection between QST and Haven," Zara said carefully. "Someone I've trusted." His eyes met hers, and she saw the unspoken question. How much could he trust her? "I need to go home," she said, suddenly feeling the weight of her dual roles. "Clear my head, review my notes." He nodded, professional distance reasserting itself. "Of course." At her apartment, Zara found a message waiting from her editor. "Need update on Chen's story ASAP. Deadline Friday." She stared at her blank document screen, the cursor blinking accusingly. How could she write objectively about a man whose body she now knew intimately, whose secrets she had promised to protect? The journalist in her knew this was the story of her career, a tech billionaire's secret crusade, a hidden vulnerability in critical systems, corporate espionage at the highest levels. But writing it might destroy everything Elijah had built to protect the vulnerable. Her phone rang, Marcus, her editor. "Zara, perfect timing. Just got a tip that Vertex Technologies is preparing a major announcement about security flaws in QST systems. They're claiming whistleblower evidence." Her blood ran cold. "When?" "Tomorrow morning. This could dovetail perfectly with your Chen expose." "I need more time, Marcus. The story is complicated." "Complicated how?" His tone sharpened. "You're not going soft on this guy, are you?" Before she could answer, her secure messaging app pinged with a text from Elijah. "Emergency at Haven, need you." "I have to go," she told Marcus, ending the call despite his protests. At Haven, chaos reigned. Elijah stood in the control center, surrounded by screens displaying compromised security protocols. "Someone leaked comprehensive schematics of our system architecture to Vertex," he explained grimly. "They're threatening to publish everything, including locations of transitional housing and identity protocols." "They can't," Zara whispered, understanding the implications. "They'd be endangering hundreds of lives." "Exactly, unless—" Elijah hesitated. "Unless I transfer controlling interest in Aria's patents to them." Dr. Vega approached, her face lined with worry. "We've started emergency relocations, but we can't move everyone in time." As they worked frantically to secure what they could, Zara's phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "Check your email. Story of a lifetime." The attached files made her heart sink. Internal QST documents, Haven schematics, and photos. Photos of her and Elijah entering his apartment, holding hands at Haven, kissing on the helipad. A text followed. "Exclusive to Digital Observer, tech billionaire's secret life and the journalist who compromised her integrity to share his bed." Vertex announces major security findings tomorrow. Your byline or someone else's? Elijah found her staring at her phone, color drained from her face. Someone's been watching us, she said, showing him the messages. They're offering me the story first, complete with evidence of our relationship.